minutes ago.
It's just great. Let's talk about Jersey Shore, and I completely missed that conversation.
A lot of people posting that.
You okay talking about the death penalty?
Yeah.
Like, we were having a conversation earlier, but I didn't want to put anybody on the spot. I don't like sandbagging.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about NFL players faking injuries to get timeout.
Dude, I can't believe they came down with a whole ruling on that. Are you kidding me?
Dude, but it's true, man.
That I know less about. I watch the Patriots and that's it.
Dude, really? After floppers and all the BS that you're watching that girl sport of yours, basketball, you're upset
Dude, those
that...
are real fouls, man.
Basketball's better. Celtics.
Well, it's even worse. I'm a Cowboys fan, so...
Oh really?
Yeah.
Dude, die hard.
Hey, hold on. Didn't the Celtics beat the Lakers in the finals a couple years ago?
Yes.
That was a good series.
And they still have more championships, but that's fine.
Is there even going to be basketball this year?
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
The way it's looking.
Preseason has to start like next week.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But they're thinking that it's going to go like last time, that we're going to get through the holidays and they'll pick it up in January.
Oh, and have like a shortened season?
Yeah, because too many of the guys are also, they're not in a hurry.
Right.
They're making a boatload of money overseas. They're actually making more than a lot of them would have made here. They're getting put up in hotels.
And Ron Artest is on Dancing with the Stars.
No, is that Ron Artest anymore?
Oh, it's
No.
Meta World Peace.
Meta World Peace.
What? I don't even get what that is.
We're back.
I know meta means love or peace in Hindi or something like that.
All right, and we're back from the break. In studio, we have with a special guest all the way from the East Coast, David Packman. And we're glad to have him. We're going to pick up a topic here that a lot of people don't like to talk about. But approximately about 10 minutes ago, Troy Davis, for those of you following the news in Georgia, was executed after all. The Supreme Court did not uphold his stay of execution. And, you know, Mike and I were talking, and David said he's okay with it. My whole thing is, you know, I'm not against the death penalty.
No, I'm okay talking about it.
No.
Okay
I'm sorry. Let's make that clear. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm okay talking about what I was telling Mike is that I'm okay with the death penalty if it's, you know, 100% clear.
How is it ever, though?
Well, yeah, it never is, but this guy, apparently, there's really no evidence tying him to the crime. 7 of the 9 witnesses recanted. The other 2 that were holdouts, one of them has been accused of being the actual person who killed this cop. And there was no DNA, there was no weapon. I mean, there was just a lot of things that just were not there. And that's the kind of thing that bothers me, because we've always talked about, I believe in the death penalty too. I mean, if you, like this other numbnuts that just...
The white supremacist.
Yeah, that guy. This dude, I don't know whether there was any appeals. I would have just taken him out back and put him on next year.
Can I do that?
I
It's
think in
America.
most death penalty cases, it's an automatic appeal.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. I can understand if a family member, if a loved one is killed, and I'm pretty sure, or I'm not pretty sure, or whatever, that we know who it is, I can understand wanting justice and feeling like the way to get justice is to kill someone else, right? I can understand that. I can understand being in that position. But if I'm to think about it objectively, there is, number one, there is a big issue that I have with this idea of 100%, okay? Let's assume for a second we could even know 100%. I don't think you ever can. Confessions can be coerced.
Right.
Confessions can be wrong. DNA evidence can also be wrong in certain cases. It's not like CSI. Let's assume we can know that. Then we have to say, is it right for a civilized society to be using a type of punishment that is used, that is considered an ancient thing in many cases, killing people, okay? And that all other developed countries at the same level of the United States have decided, in the same way that they've decided everybody should get health care, right? They've also decided that.
Right.
The U.S. hasn't. They've also decided the death penalty is not something we're going to be doing. I happen to subscribe to that. Now, I understand the financial argument also. It's very expensive to keep someone alive and in jail forever, versus sometimes it's less expensive. So I hear the fiscal conservatives saying, hey, they shouldn't be living off of our dime. Listen, with all of the appeals and the fact that in many states it takes 20, 30 years to kill someone anyway, to execute someone, you're not really saving money. The money argument's stupid. So I just don't know any argument, really, that makes sense to me for having the death penalty.
See, when you say it like that, I have to agree with you because of the whole developed nation. You know, I agree with the argument, and I understand where a lot of people are angry. In this particular case, it was an off-duty policeman that, you know, and again, I would never take anything from his family. I would never belittle that. I would never want it. My whole thing to what you're saying is, I don't know that, at least in my case, that would provide closure at all. I'm not sure where it would go, but if it's going to come to that, I also don't want to be haunted by something that would another 6 days. And I know a polygraph would have made a difference, but would anything else that could have been done made a difference to exonerate him versus, you know, them rushing through it?
I don't know that the argument here is whether he was clearly innocent or not. I think the issue is it okay for the state to be in the business of executing people when there have been so many questionable and odd things going on with the case? And beyond that, is it okay for the state to be in the business of executing people, period? And that's where I have a problem. I don't have a problem. You know, listen, I'm Jewish, right? I like the fact that, for example, Adolf Eichmann was hanged. I don't even know what the right thing is.
Yeah. We don't know whether he was hung or not. But
It's the only case where Israel has actually used capital punishment. You know, I'm not going to fight that. I'm not angry that happened.
Right.
Does it make me feel better? You know, I feel a personal connection. Maybe it does make me feel a little better that happened. But if I'm to take myself out and really think about it objectively, is that really is that something civilized that as we progress as a society we should be doing? If I'm honest with myself, I have to say no.
And I think
I agree with you 100%.
Right, and that's.
But you're still in favor of the death penalty.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I would have to say yes. Even though, I mean, it's weird. Even though I agree with everything you've said, I mean, I just think that there's some crimes that are so heinous that, I mean, imprisonment is just not justice, the way I see it. Anything relating to kids. I mean, I'm biased, I know I have kids, whatever, but that kind of thing, when child molestation, child rape, that kind of thing, that really bugs me. And these guys, I don't think, can be reformed, so yeah, whatever.
But yeah, let's pick apart the language, though. It bugs you. Do we kill people over stuff that bugs someone?
You know what? In the United States, we do.
I guess so.
Apparently we do.
Certainly in Texas, we do. Right?
Well, you know, and it's funny because I don't want to misrepresent Texas because again, I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I know families from Texas, but Mike and I were talking about it. I'm trying to find the exact state where one of the trials that is being looked at right now is because when they were asked to give life or death to this one inmate, the prosecuting attorney was able to use race. And
well, they had a psychologist, testifies, basically saying that because this guy was black, he was more apt to commit further crimes if he was released. So
I read about that.
They gave him, I think, him life, or I don't know if I don't think it's a death penalty case, but now they're appealing it. So it's like in that situation, I actually think it's a death penalty case. I look it up, but it's one of those things. In that situation, I mean, that is just outrageous.
See, but then that goes beyond what bugs you, and that just comes back to a whole social fear and things that we still haven't eliminated in 2011 that, you know, I would have thought were over years ago. Again, living in California, we're so used to certain things here, at least I thought we were, but then this afternoon, 2 policemen were charged in Fullerton, for those of you that have been following the national case on the homeless guy who was tasered and beaten beyond. I mean, it was just, they found enough evidence that they decided to file charges against 2 other policemen today.
The other thing that we're opening up is when you said there's certain crimes. It's subjective, right? Which crimes should be bad enough to warrant execution? Is it only if you've taken a life? Well, there's a lot of crimes that definitely ruin people's lives unless they have very, very good support, years of therapy, etc. If you ruin someone's life with a crime, should you be executed then?
That would put Bernie Madoff on that list.
Sure. So I think it's too subjective to me for a civilized society that deals in fact and that deals in reality to start picking. Well, here's a few crimes, and then you've got the legal system where people can create mitigating circumstances. Well, yeah, child molestation we're going to execute people for, except when there's some mitigating circumstances. It's too blurred for me. It's just too blurry.
No, and I'm not saying my argument has made sense.
Okay.
I'm just saying
that's good.
At the moment, that is how I feel. You know, but you know, I agree with you in everything you say, especially in regards to the United States still doing the kind of things we do. You know, the healthcare issue, hell, torture, man. You know, the waterboarding. in that book. The
Hold
crap
on,
out of me.
it's enhanced interrogation.
Yeah, true. You know, but that book.
See,
the
and
crap out of me.
and that was funny because when we talked about it, Mike served. So you know what his whole thing was when I listened to his point of view about we don't want that happening to our boys, and that makes sense. You know, I mean, and I don't want anybody over there as it is, but that's a whole other nightmare and another whole week show, if you will. But
I think it's. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's do we want it happening to our boys. It's do we want it to be known that we do this. Forget about it because that argument, the argument about we will behave in a way to make it so that it's as easy as possible on our guys. I don't know that stands up really to much scrutiny. I think the argument is, do we want the U.S. to be a country that is known for doing that? And, you know, I wasn't born a citizen of the U.S., but now I am one and I consider myself as American as anybody else. That's not something I would really want associated with the U.S. I think the U.S. is above that, hopefully. I could be wrong. I guess I am wrong because we have been doing.
But now,
I agree with you.
does that come down to something subjective also, though, when the argument was made that you have whatever it is, that you know, a terrorist group or an invading force
The
or
ticking
someone,
time bomb scenario.
Thank you. I mean, forget the race or the culture. The ticking time bomb scenario. Is there ever a point when it's acceptable for the U.S.? Because then it comes back to what you're saying about being subjective. So, you know, it's either we do or we don't, and then what do we do?
Well, I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer to that. But the only thing I can cite there's been a number of studies, both by the military, intelligence communities, and just private groups that basically we don't get any reliable intelligence when we torture people.
You get people to say what they think will get you to stop
Exactly,
torturing.
and that's it. You know. So I mean, there have been cases that have been broken by just interrogating the guy, befriending the guy, you know, playing cards, a game of chess, whatever, getting this guy to trust you, and they'll talk, you know.
So I think to honestly answer the question of at what point is it okay, is it ever okay, what about the ticking time bomb scenario, it assumes that torture is going to be the final step in getting someone to give
Right.
you the information you want, and that seems to not be the case.
Right. It's just, you know, just because you watched it on 24 doesn't mean it's going to work in real life, you know. Because if that was the case, then they would make it legal not only for the military and the intelligence community. What about cops?
Hey man, don't take that from me. Jack Bauer got stuff done in 24 hours. Okay, I mean, you know,
This is true. This
you know,
is true.
Please, you telling me that wasn't real?
Right. So, you know, then where do you draw the line? Then can cops torture you to try to get you to confess? You know, I mean, it's just a whole mess, man. So
All right, we're
anyways,
going to our break on the half here. I want to thank everybody for listening. We've got David Packman in house with us. We're going to go here, and I'm completely blanked on what I was about to say. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Obama jobs bill. So if you want to call in, 1-800-405-6425. We'll be
This
right
is
back.
the Three Guys Rant on AdrenalineRadio.com.
We'd have to kidnap him and keep him here. It's the most exciting banter we've had in the studio for months.
Yeah, because this is fun. Trying to see if people are sending me any messages or anything.
They're all asleep.
It's late on the East Coast.
This is going to be rebroadcast tomorrow, by the way,
Okay.
on Indy 104 FM if anybody wants to.
Do you guys podcast?
Yes,
Okay.
the studio, actually, it goes up on our site.
Okay.
So it'll be available for there, and then it's also available for download.
All right.
And we'll get you whatever you need for
Yeah,
any
if
of your
Arvin sends me
segments.
the link, I'll put it up and put it on our press page.
Excellent. That sucks in this guy. I'd like to have known a little bit more.
Is it still hot in here?
It's getting a little bit better.
Because you never turned it on.
Oh, I didn't do it. It was Boots. It was Boots.
Brian,
Yeah, his name is Thunder.
Thunder.
I don't Boots anymore.
Dude, if they come off the wall and find that this guy was innocent afterwards or whatever, it's going to be hard though.
How could they?
Well,
I feel
they-
like now it'll just be like
Well, they got this other guy who confessed.
someone else confessed.
Again, this is all pieces. I don't know for
I didn't
sure.
know about that. I didn't know about that.
You said you saw the same
Well,
thing, right?
yeah. Well, the two people that have recanted, one of them,
7
people say
recanted.
that have not. Somebody said that one of those two was overheard bragging about how he did it, and this guy was taking it.
Because there was 9 people total that said he did it. 7 recanted.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So of the 2, but you know, so I'm just like, the problem is too, we got to get past race in this country. Mike and I lived in Georgia, and it was the summer. We were there for this one company we were working for. We got really dark that year because we were out with some heavy machinery. And I'll tell you what, first time we ever experienced racism.
Because you were dark?
Yes.
Yeah, it was weird, man.
That's it.